Hi everybody. Well, this is a one thing of this is a message to, hello, this is Miguel from the Embargo Man channel, living here in Miami, Florida. It is around 11 at night. Okay, this is most likely to Yoko from RandomYoko. I'm talking about this because I have seen some of your videos why I exercise and everything, and plus I seen one of your videos when you play the piano. Even though I have another channel called Random Mig, please check that out and please subscribe to my channel. But I'm gonna tell you one thing important, of one thing that I will say. First of all, I was just like seeing all this election things, we talk about politics and all that stuff, and seeing that I don't know, you try to praise Shinzo Abe or anything like that. He's a great prime minister. Thank him. God bless him. Then I was saying, yeah, I was looking at this person. I know you support him or something like that. But then there's people, all politicians, when they want to run for president or for prime minister or anything like that, they say things out of context. They say things out of context because, this is what we came here for in the United States, right? It's like, I was like watching 60 Minutes, last Sunday, and then you know one thing, what we all have to get bond together is that YouTube, has bond together. Love could be bound us together. I see you when you were with this guy Matt, and then we see you when you did all these videos, and then I did the other channel called Random Mig because I pray, just like an admiration, I admire you, I admire your video, aspiration to you is like saying, oh yeah, like what you're about to see is a total randomness of Miami, Florida, under my Random Mig channel, even though it has been inspired from your videos. You go on all of Fukuoka or Tokyo, wherever you go, right? Then what I'm doing, this video is nothing yet, is about politics. So first of all, that I have seen this Donald Trump, he was in The Apprentice. He was a business guy. Yeah, I remember he says, "You're fired." Yeah, I remember that. Even though you never seen The Apprentice, I think you could check it out. I don't know if they give it away and they give it in Japan or something, but I think you could check it on YouTube, The Apprentice. This is what it is. Like, people could change. Have you seen the Rocky 4, right? Rocky 4, it was like, Sylvester Stallone playing, Rocky Balboa. If I could change, you could change, everybody could change. Well, that's right, but sometimes people say things out of context, and then this is what would happen. Back then, way before we have this internet technology, before the Interpol, International Police, that works with the FBI, before all the internet thing that we have, like all this criminal activity and everything like that. Back then, we used to, there have been, the United States is made out of immigrants. They brought immigrants from all over the world. They have brought these people that has, they pay taxes and they follow the rules, like any part in the world, right? But then they also brought the rotten fruit. All the bad fruit coming in, besides the good people, the good ones you just keep in, but the rotten fruit, they just came in and, they just bring out trouble. Well, if we didn't have this kind of technology, if we did have all this kind of technology back then, like all this that we have right now, then we would deport a bunch of these rotten apples back to Italy. And this is the reason why the American mafia has been started with Italian immigrants, not just bad, and not just bad people from Italy, but from France, from Ireland, from anybody from all over the world. Like all these bad fruit, all these rotten fruit that is coming in here, we need to deport them back. It's like saying this, that we're sick and tired of seeing all these rotten fruit and let the good people, ruin their names. This is what would happen. This is like the history of the United States, plain and simple and clear. Al Capone came from Italian immigrants, and you heard about Al Capone, and then back then, without having harsh immigration law like in Canada. Like I've been to Canada, and then they're very harsh. They try to check all the criminal record just intact. If you have a criminal record, they don't let you in. But if you're clean, they let you in. Right here, we're too easy. The immigration laws are weak here. That means we're bringing people in, and then this is what happened in Europe, and this is what happened to, well, at least, let's say, I don't know if your country is the same. They have very strict, immigration laws. Then I bet I never have seen that this guy, like the Yoko, a prime minister of your country, saying that all Chinese people are bad. If they're saying if all Chinese people are bad, then what would do with the good Chinese people? It's just people saying things out of context. It's like saying somebody's running for prime minister and saying, "Oh, what this guy said, that all Chinese people are bad." Same thing happened to Trump. Trump said things out of context. But then when he says things out of context, it makes me wonder, saying that this guy is saying he doesn't have any experience in politics. He's more like a businessman. But then he's learning. People learn from their mistakes. He's a human being. Like we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes also. But then when I see 60 Minutes, it's on CBS. I don't know if you could watch it in Japan, but then it says like Donald Trump said it clear. He said it very clear. He said something about jobs, but then I've seen all his videos that saying that all these that all these companies, they're like sending their jobs to other countries, tell them to screw themselves, right? And that was his plan. I like this job plan. This is what it is. As he says, he's gonna tax the Ford Motor Company, even though it's a company that makes my favorite car. I love the Ford Mustang. It is a really nice car, and then if you've seen it over there, they sell it. Yeah, that says it. He said it very clear that if FMC were making their cars, Ford Motor Company making their cars in Mexico, he's gonna tax them and put them higher tariffs, and that's what we need. We need jobs. And then the thing is, yeah, it's pretty clever with this Trans-Pacific Partnership and all that stuff. And then I'm just seeing, wow, is this guy's really promising jobs? Look, he is not Ronald Reagan, but then what is the difference is we all have something in common. We all want peace and harmony. We want to live together and stay together instead of go dividing ourselves and yelling, oh, blah, 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 all this people protesting out of something that they don't like, or, or like somebody says something out of context, like people get mad and they go haywire. What it is that the thing, not the jobs thing, but then the thing about them mentioning a wall, right? Donald Trump mentioning a wall, but then the over there in Washington said they want to like build a fence or something like that, or what it is a stricter laws in the southern border, similar to Canada, to check everybody before getting into the United States, that they work out with Mexican officials or something to check their criminal records before getting in, or in other words, if they have a criminal record, if they have a criminal record, they're not welcome in the U.S. And that's what I heard. He said it like he's going to deport the rotten fruit. Yes, we don't need a rotten fruit here in this country, right? And then I was saying, yeah, he's kind of, is saying things out of context, and he's saying what he says. Then I'm just saying, like, he's saying what he says, even though, let me tell you what, we all have something in common, even though we have different ideologies. I think different, I wanted to go to your country, I think different than you, but then would bring us together, even though we all think differently, but we have the same feelings in common. We feel sad, we feel mad, we feel crazy, whatever, that's it. Then I'm just saying my dad's coming from Colombia, but other than that, there's one thing in common that will say, oh, you want to go to the inauguration? Great. I might just saying, I might just dressed up as Donald Duck, and who's Donald Duck, right? Mickey Mouse. Friend, he's a duck. His name is Donald. Named after a president, but guess what? Donald Duck. Yeah. I don't know how it is to dress up as in a Donald Duck suit, me myself in the inauguration, but let me tell you what. In seeing this in 60 Minutes about the jobs, about the the deporting all these rotten fruit that we have here, stricter immigration laws and stuff. What it says is kind of, yeah, right, we don't need a rotten fruit. We don't need rotten fruit in this country, like we can go and have our own rotten fruit, put them here in the U.S. jails, the ones that are born here, but then same thing. But what are the rotten fruit coming from other countries? So, as for saying the other day, if I seen on the news, yeah, because on the day in the election day. But let me tell you what, when I wake up, I'm hoping to see a woman president, but then the next day I seen, Donald Trump has won, right? But let me tell you my secret. I didn't vote for him, right? I didn't vote for him, but guess what? I was cross my fingers, but I am not like those people that go out there and says, not my president, whatever, People get just or going crazy out of things that sometimes people say and didn't mean to say. What they didn't meant to say is like this. If somebody said something out of context, it's like saying, well, I live in America, I live in the United States, but then if I see somebody saying, somebody in YouTube or in the TV, or like this guy running for prime minister saying that all Chinese people are bad, well, it's like, I'm not saying that out of context, but what I see in 60 Minutes is a whole different story. It's a whole different story than about, people coming from all over the world, all the rotten fruit coming here, and then the good, we could keep the good people in the United States to work, but then the bad ones go back to their country of origin. As for example, about the cell phone store, because I saw in the news, I'm talking about going to the cell phone store. The guy was stealing a bunch of iPhones, right? He was stealing a bunch of iPhones at a store here in Miami and Hialeah, right? Then they capture him. Well, if that guy came from Panama, then you know what he do? Kick him out, bring his ass, and send his ass back to Panama, and that's it. Stop stealing cell phones. Then yeah, he's undocumented, but if he steals cell phones, but then you have Joe the French guy, right? Joe the French man, he started a business. That's just an example. He started a French cuisine, do a French restaurant or something. Then he gets the papers, and he is not a troublemaker. He does everything right. Then he cannot go back to France. He have green card, immigration, all the papers and all the work, and then he stays in and boom, he stays in the U.S. Succeed his dream. The same thing. What it is. You could keep the good Italians from back then. Work in the United States. Making their pasta, spaghetti, and meatballs, and then you get the bad ones. The mafia, and they go back to Italy, right? In other words, more like an immigration control. Let people in, follow with the works and papers, legalize something what Ronald Reagan did. He did this amnesty thing. Better yet, Yoko, if you want to see all these Ronald Reagan videos, he is a great guy. He is a very nice, charismatic guy. He never says things out of context. He always say that everybody, we're all Americans and all that stuff. This guy is he is one of our greatest presidents that we had back then, and I think you were born during Reagan's second term, and this Reaganomics thing and everything else has been great. Back then, the U.S. economy rocked. Thanks to Ronald Reagan, we are what we are, even though we fell down, and then you have Bill Clinton. I don't know what's going on. I'm in neither party. I voted for whoever I think have the best shot for great ideas. And the thing is, conservatism. Liberals would be, it's like, there it is. Back then, women didn't have the right to vote. Liberalism, they give them the right to women to vote. And then things change on and on, and then conservatism, there's one thing is if you want to be having family values, whatever, being, the conservative side, I have a bit of both worlds, let women vote, have liberal, have, let's say abortion, I don't agree with babies getting, the unborn being killed, that's being a bit of conservatives, this and that. It's like, it's like but then it's like a two-party system. Right here in the U.S., the thing is, like Donald Trump was right about the electoral school, of the electoral college. Is like he won out of the electoral college, and he's right about it. It is rigged. Yes, it is rigged. The electoral college is nonsense. The electoral school is BS. That's for that matter. It's just, instead of the popular vote, the electoral vote. It seems like monarchy in disguise and it needs to end that monarchy. But then higher wages and then about Obamacare, and then the thing about the lobbyist. This guy, even though he said things, how he says about getting rid of the rotten apples, people from other countries who are criminals to be kicked out and send it back to their countries. Could be Mexico, could be Italy, could be France, could be wherever, even in your country. If you have bad apples from rotten apples coming from here, like what we need is a good apple. We need a good fruit here, and send all the rotten fruit back to where they come from, right? That's the plan. What he says, but then about the electoral vote and everything, and about not the electoral, about the lobbyist. That's what it is about the Obamacare. The Obamacare is kind of like national health care, making Medicare more affordable, but the lobbyist has been that. It wasn't that big of a discount. Lobbyist, secret interest, and everything. I saw this in 60 Minutes. Trump was right about this kind of thing, and I think, yeah, he's right. He might say things out of context, but he is right in some things about the lobbyists, about he was saying about cheaper healthcare. Yeah, right. I guess he want to repeal Obamacare and have something more affordable. I don't know if it's something similar to your country, but then people could have affordable healthcare. And then this is what it is when people, because I seen the other day people going on, out and protesting. They're afraid because of this, going on, because they say, oh yeah, because they're afraid they're gonna deport their parents or whatever. But as long as people are not doing any crime, they're alright. They're gonna get their papers, and I hope they do with this amnesty thing what the Ronald Reagan has done, but let me tell you what, Jimmy Carter had brought a bunch of misfits from Cuba. Besides bringing the good people, Castro has sent all the rotten fruit. They send all the rotten fruit from Cuba. Then why? And then Reagan came in and it stopped, and then the economy was booming, right? This is not what's happening in Europe now. This is what's happening in places that they get all these refugees without checking their criminal records. If they check their criminal records, then this is, and then thanks to this guy, I hope we're not gonna keep all these rotten fruit from Syria coming in, like rotten fruit coming from everywhere else. But what we need is a good fruit working in this country or in your country to live a life and to start their business and to succeed in life and everything else. And then keep all the rotten fruit out. Get all the rotten fruit, even the rotten fruit here, to take them back to their country of origin. Our own rotten fruit, they'll be staying in jail. They'll be like punished and face the consequences. That's it. But then, if you said you want to go to inauguration, yeah, maybe I might like to meet you. So, what it is, I think you better watch the 60 Minutes thing about Donald Trump and what he's planning to do. Even though I didn't vote for him, but then if you wanted to do your part, I've seen to have wishing of a woman president, but why don't you just try to be Yoko, to be yourself? Learn from Ronald Reagan, see the videos of Ronald Reagan's debates and stuff, and because I think you are like more like him, more like a female version, and you'll be the first female prime minister. Because I believe that together, I believe you could do great things in life to change people's life. Even though I seen videos, you're singing about all these, these Chinese hookers that that from World War II, or comfort women that they pass on as Korean victims, and so what, and then that's it. That's like, probably we say sorry, or I hope things get well, and I cross my fingers and I hope things get well, because I mean that, like, I'm talking about the sport thing. I'm talking about about raising the terrorists, because Mark Fields was say, regardless of that, I mean, I like the people were talking about the Thunderbird. Thunderbird is a car, or in other words, with this Trans-Pacific Partnership or whatever, like, it seems they're going to make the Thunderbird in Japan, in your country, where we dropped the first atomic bomb. When a jerk was in charge, he dropped the first atomic bomb in Hiroshima. Mazda, the Miata rebadged as a Mazda Miata rebadged as a Thunderbird, but then with Trump as president, I think they going here in the charge. Well, what the hell? We're going to make a car? Maybe they're going to make that car in Flat Rock, Michigan, because they started in a factory in Michigan between Ford and Mazda, called it Auto Alliance, and then they probably bring the Thunderbird being built in Flat Rock instead of Hiroshima. It would be him, because I was thinking, whoa, I woke up the next day and seen Donald Trump as the president-elect. Let's see what would happen. So I think what we need to do is to be together, and as like Donald Trump has said to these protesters and to all these people who are outraged and believe all his things out of context, to stop it in 60 minutes. Then what we need to do is, as a whole world, we are one world, as one together, is to stay together, and then we show that we need to compassionate, that we need to show love and togetherness, and we live in peace and stuff, because this is YouTube. And I will just say goodbye, and then see you in the next video. Even though you say you were saying the last video about you were with these in Tokyo, and then you were right about this thing. I'm just trying to check out my camera. And you were right about this thing. You were with these Trump supporters and Clinton supporters. You were right about this thing. Is because we need to stay together, and we need, even though you thought like everybody in the U.S. voted for the same person, well, we didn't, not everybody. And let me tell you, in other words, nobody's perfect. And that's the reason we need to stay together. And because I am not one of those people that go and protest and do all these craziness like they did in the Trump Tower and everybody else in downtown Miami, like I saw in the news the other day. I'm just a person that's calmed down, even though, oh well, let's see what the guy got, or let's see who this person got, and then hope for and have prayer that hope things will be all right, and then someday we could meet. I think you are a very kind person, and that's it. So see you right there, and hey people, see you in the next video on Embargo Man or Random Mig. Please check out my Random Mig channel, and you check all my videos. I didn't have videos yet, but they're coming soon. Bye.